When you look at your bank account, a lot of people wonder exactly where all the money went. Most of the time, it's not those really big purchases that you had accountability for. But the truth is, it is the little items that are kind of nickel and diming you down to that paycheck to paycheck mentality. And in today's video, we're going to be looking at some of those daily expenses that you can eliminate if you just really pay attention to them. And I also want to go ahead and say a lot of these I do, and a lot of these I have really cut out. With the first one, looking at bottled water. When you think of the daily expense of bottled water, if you're spending, and on average it is $2 a day, that is $60 a month if you're buying a bottle of water every single day. And if you're buying some other water, it could be $3, $5, even $7 per bottle of water. By the end of the year, you could be spending $1,000 a year just on bottle of water, which is kind of crazy. That's the reason why we've seen a huge rise with these custom Stanley mugs and everything else that people are using versus getting those bottle of water. Because again, when it comes to nickel and diming you and a couple dollars here or there, even with the impulse purchases at checkout, it can really be super expensive. Then we get into prepackaged snacks. Snacking is great. The price and the convenience of the grab and go. When you think of Kroger, when I think of Walmart, when I think of, Myers, all the places around here, they have entire aisles dedicated now to your prepackaged snacks, to the grab and go, and they are a lot smaller quantity and they are a lot more expensive. $3 to $5 every single day on snacking is almost $90 to $100 a month, which is incredible when it comes to the cost. You're talking well over $1,000 alone per year with this. If you're buying things in a larger quantity, if you're buying it at bulk, a lot of times you can literally save, 2x, 3x, 5x the price of buying those little grab and go. And if you notice that the snack size has now become the fun size, and the fun size is even tinier than the snack size is. And of course, the cost of it just continues to increase, especially when it comes to chocolate. It is expensive. The third one we look at is eating out for lunch. For me personally, this is one that I cut out in its entirety. So we do meal prep every Sunday. We prep everything for the entire week. Eating out for lunch roughly is about $10 to $15 a day per person. That's right. You're talking $50 a week just to eat lunch if you're eating out every day. And also depending on where you're going, $10 to $15 might not even cut it. So you're talking $2,500 to $3,000 a year. When you think of the ability to cut that down, even cutting it down, let's say from 3,000, maybe down to 1,000 for really an average, you could save over $2,000 just from packing your own lunch, not only making it a cheaper variety or version, but also for a majority of us, it will be a much healthier version as well. Then we start into the shopping aspect. When you think of brand name groceries, buying a brand name sometimes can be very reassuring, but when you look at the cost versus some of the store brands, when you look at a majority of your Walmarts, your Krogers, even thinking of BJ's, Costco, Sam's Club, all of them have their own brand name or their own store brand, which of course is infinitely cheaper than what we see from the brand name groceries. This can have a huge impact on your bill. When you talk about something that can save, thousands of dollars a year, it is really choosing even like a name brand paper towel, really getting the store brand versus the name brand on something like paper towel, toilet paper, a lot of those, as long as the quality of it is comparable, you can save an incredible amount of money going through there. And then we get into my favorite, which I had to wrangle in the biggest, probably out of any one of these, which is in-app purchases. Now, I am a gamer. I do play AFK Arena. I play Guild of Guardians. In-app purchases, when you think of a small amount, and this also goes for gambling, when you think of getting those $1.99 packs, those $2.99 purchases, even putting that $4.99 in some of the MGM Grand Casino online apps, dollar for dollar, there is nothing that you're going to get really out of this. Even when you leave a game, a lot of times when you leave, your casino addiction can add up to hundreds of thousands to tens of thousands of dollars a year that you could be spending it on something else. You could be debt repayment. You could really be doing something for yourself, whether it's time off, vacation, saving up, investing. There are so many things you can do versus getting in-app purchases. And again, that is something that I absolutely had to wrangle in. Same with expensive hair treatments. When you start going to the salon, some people are spending $100 to $200 per month, depending where they're going, which is kind of crazy, the amount of money that you can spend getting haircuts. Even thinking here, haircuts used to be, and I go to Lady Jane's, which is a local place here, it was $12. Then it was $15. Now it was $18. Now it is $25. So in the last 4 years, that's right, since COVID, their haircuts have over doubled in price in 4 years. They, really equate it to inflation. And also with that price tag, if you're getting your haircut every 2 or 3 weeks at a $25 price tag, then you throw in a tip on that $25 price tag, you're spending roughly, and again, I go every 2 weeks, you're talking like $50 to $60 that we're getting just out of haircuts every single month, which is, of course, a big bill when you're spending $720 a year just on haircuts yourself. Then we get into lottery. Now, when it comes to financial counseling, when it comes to education, the financial counseling aspect, lottery tickets and online gambling are really a pandemic. I see people that are literally spending hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on a monthly basis on lottery tickets, on online gambling. Again, we think of, BetMGM, you think of a lot of different ways. When you start looking at the big picture of lottery, you can be very disciplined with it. You can set $5 or $10 aside every single week. You can put it in there. Most people are putting an exorbitant amount of money, and we are seeing them really go into so much debt with their credit cards. I have seen home foreclosures. I have seen car repossessions. I've seen a crazy amount of things when it comes to lottery and when it comes to gambling that people, it's kind of crazy that they're putting all of this money into it. And of course, the probability is you're not going to win anything. So they are dumping a ton of money into it with the hopes of hitting it big. And unfortunately, I haven't met any of them yet that have hit it big. Now, when we start looking at the financial institutions, the next one that comes up for common purchases are bank fees. When you think of ATM fees, when you look at monthly fees, maintenance fees, overdraft fees, even $5 a month can make a big difference when it comes to how much you're putting out. You're talking that is $60 a year. That is super low on the low end. When you think of a common overdraft courtesy pay fee, something of that nature, it is roughly $37 per occurrence is the average when it comes to a financial institution. Definitely look at your credit unions versus your banks. Not only getting a higher yield on your return, meaning the money you have in your savings account, the money in the checking account, but also having much lower overdraft fees. And of course, you can eliminate a lot of the ATM fees with the shared network as well. Now, this is another one that I refuse to do, that I've seen so many people doing, that I see on a regular basis, which is car wash memberships. Frequent car washes can be super expensive. And again, thinking of the auto wash, we had a $3 wash, went out of business. We had a $5 wash, went out of business. Now the cheapest auto wash that we have, and there's actually one, a Jack's Car Wash, right down the road from my work. The cheapest wash there is $12 per trip. So if you think about that, if you're doing it multiple times a week, I'd love to have a clean car. But when you're looking at $50, $60, $70, $100 a month, that's some people are spending on the car. Now, in addition to those, the memberships, we start looking at the memberships. Memberships are starting at that exact same auto wash at $32. So think about that for a minute. If you're doing $32 a month for an auto wash, you better make sure that you're bringing your car there every single day to get your money worth. But even if you're doing 3 washes during the month, you'll actually be saving money by getting that membership. And I do not like memberships, guys. You could wash your car at home. I know there's going to be a price to get the materials and the water bill, but overall, it seems like it's a lot more affordable than getting those frequent auto washes. Me personally, what I do for auto washes is anytime that I get a lot of salt, I live up here in Michigan, just north of Detroit. We have a lot of salt on our roads and it can be absolutely detrimental to your vehicle. I look at getting an auto wash when the roads are heavily salted through the winter because that is going to increase the longevity of my car because we're not going to see it rust out. Now, the other big one that we see is impulse buys at checkout. It is estimated that Americans are spending $2,500 a year at the impulse buy at checkout. When you look at a checkout, again, thinking of my Kroger, it's got literally everything you could ever want. It's got gum there, it's got candy, it's got chips. They have all of the coolers for the takeout, the impulse. And when you start looking at all of that stuff, even stacking gift cards in there, there is an exorbitant amount of stuff that they are stocking and really putting in those cash register aisles, making sure that they are taking the most of those impulse purchases. And of course, when you're buying one single item at checkout, let's say it's a bag of chips, let's say it's a pop, the price of it is much, much higher than if you just went back and bought the entire thing, which makes a really big difference again when it comes to the cost and what you're spending. And this is another pet peeve of mine is decorations. Seasonal decorations, as much as I like them, they are good if you set money aside for them, but there's a lot of people that are spending, look at Halloween decorations. We're now getting into the holiday season, the Christmas season. We are seeing thousands of dollars put into Halloween decorations. I have seen some of the Halloween displays that are running, $500 for one animated figure that they had at Home Depot. I've seen them all over the neighborhood. Then I start adding it up and I'm like, okay, well, that's thousands. And then I start going through the house and I'm like, okay, well, that's tens of thousands of dollars that I see in decorations. Now, as much as I like them, it is an absorbent amount of cost and things that really don't affect it very much, but does come at a big price tag. So, all right, guys, so that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.